Hello, well, it's about time for another vlog, and obviously the previous vlog, the first one that I'd done in the series, couldn't have really gone too much better with a new PB for myself at just, well, £43 12 ounces I think it was. So yeah, can't really grumble at that at all, but unfortunately the lake in question weren't too happy with me producing a vlog, so I won't be doing any more there. So I've got to find a new location, and I did have one sorted up until yesterday morning, and then unfortunately that one's fallen through as well. So I was kind of scratching around for ideas yesterday, but I have managed to secure a couple of nights on a water that was already on my radar. It was somewhere that I've fancied fishing for a little while, and massive thank you to Brendan for letting me come up here for a couple of nights. He's a bit of a lifesaver, and I can't wait to get going. It's a bit of a different lake to what I'm used to. It's massive for a start. I've never seen it in person, but like I say, it's been on my radar. So it's massive, it's full of crayfish. It's going to be a lot of boat work potentially, as most of the swims aren't actually accessible by car. So you've got to load the boat up, obviously take all your gear over to certain swims. So yeah, it's going to be a new challenge. I've just pulled in just down the lane from it, so I thought I'd do a little bit of an intro and then we go and have a look at the lake. But yeah, I'm looking forward to actually seeing it in person, seeing quite how big it is, because I know the stats of it, but actually seeing it in person is going to be a whole new story. So let's wrap this up, get down there and have a proper look at it. Wow. So I knew it was going to be big, but this is huge. Like, I don't even know where to start. This is a proper slab of water. So like I say, I knew the stats of it. The previous lake I was fishing was 40 acres, and that looks like a puddle compared to this. This is 280. With a nature reserve down one end as well, so it's absolutely huge. And I'm just looking out on it now, and yeah, what a mega bit of water. This is insane. It's kind of full autumn colours as well. It's pretty hazy at the moment, so you can't see them in their best light, but yeah, welcome to vlog 2. So I've probably been down here a couple of hours now. Got all my gear over to swim by boat, which is a new one for me. I've never done that before, so I didn't actually film that part because I was actually trying to concentrate on surviving more than anything. But it went all right, and I didn't crash, didn't fall out, so that's the main thing. But I haven't seen anything. I did have a bit of a walk round and quite fancied this swim. It's quite a nice area. You've got a good view of the lake as well. I haven't actually seen anything yet, but I thought it's probably quite a good place to start because you can see so much of the lake. So just got my bivvy set up. I'm going to get the rods out now. I've got about an hour till dark, so hopefully I can find a nice spot, get 3 rods on it, a little bit of bait out, and then just relax for a little bit. But yeah, I'm still a bit taken back by it. It's such a huge slab of water, and like, compared to what I'm used to, like I said, the 𝗙𝗿𝗏 before was 40 acres, and to me that seemed quite a big bit of water. So going from that to 280 is a massive step up. So we'll see what happens over the course of the night, see if I see anything. If I do, then it'll be well worth obviously chucking everything in the boat again and moving to somewhere close, because they could easily be a mile away. So yeah, it's quite a challenge, but definitely a challenge that I'm looking forward to. So let's get the rods out and get sorted. Now, as you can probably see, the light is fading really quickly, so it's probably only been about 15 minutes since I've done the last piece to camera. So I've got my marker set up. I'm just going to have a little lead around. From what I've heard, it's a pretty uniformed bottom, so I'm going to see what's out there, see what it feels like. If I can find anything a little bit different, then I'm going to try and get all 3 rods on that spot. But I think for now it's just a case of getting the rods out, watching the water as darkness comes, just seeing if there's any shows anywhere to give me something to either move on to or kind of bear in mind for the next couple of days. So just going to ping this out now. Oh, really solid out there, and as you probably saw, it took a long time for that lead to hit the bottom, so it's pretty deep out there as well. I mean, that's very gravelly there, so we'll just kind of mark that up, because it was very, very smooth to start with, and then now it's just gravel pinging along. It still felt very hard when it first went out, so whether it's just, I know there's a road that runs through here where it used to be a road, so whether that's what that was, where it was smooth and then it's moved on just to a bit of rubble. So let's ping that back out on the gravel itself. Yeah, nice solid donk again. Right onto that crumbly sort of gravel. Yeah, that feels nice. So I think, as you can see, like I said, the light is dropping so quickly. So I'm going to get all 3 rods spread out there, big spread of bait as well, just for the first night at least. And like I say, just sit back and watch the water for a bit. But hopefully I'll get them out before it's completely dark. Morning. So getting the rods out last night didn't quite go to plan. Obviously you saw me find that spot just on darkness, and after that quite a strong wind picked up, and when I was trying to wrap out the distance with the marker I ended up with all sorts of tangles on the braid. So I opted for a different approach last night because obviously darkness had come upon us and it just ended up a bit of a nightmare. So I put all 3 rods out at different distances with just a little mesh bag with about 6 or 7 15mm boilies in it, just to kind of scatter them about. So like I said, I hadn't seen anything to go on. It was pretty clear all over out there, so I thought that might be the best chance for a quick bite. That didn't really happen. Did have one bite about 11 o'clock, but that was a bream, so not really the night that I wanted. I know you can always say, well, the rigs are working, which is great, but when it's not a species that you're trying to catch, it wasn't quite what I was going for. So I've got myself up early this morning, I've just had a quick coffee, and I'm going to find that spot again, wrap it out properly, get all 3 rods on it, get some bait out, and I'm hoping that I might be lucky and still be able to catch the morning bite period. I have seen a few odd swirls and bits and pieces, which to be honest were pretty close to where I found that spot. So one was a definite show, and heard it as a big ripple afterwards, so that was a definite show, and it's probably only about 45-50 yards, which like I say, I think is pretty close to where I was. So yeah, I'm gonna get the marker back out, find right on the edge of where it goes from that really hard spot to that crumbly sort of gravel, and then I'm gonna get a bit of bait out over that area. So redo all the rods as well, make sure that they're absolutely bang on, and if I need to leave them on that spot for the rest of the session, then I will do. So I'm just going to see how it goes, obviously keep an eye on the water all day today, and if there's anything obvious at different distances or anything like that, then make sure I act on it, because I think this time of year one show is enough to give the game away and could result in a bite. So let's get that sorted, let's get the rods out properly, and then see where the day goes from there. So I'm just going to ping the marker out there again. I brought in all 3 rods, and as I was bringing in the first one, I did actually see a fish show just to the right. So I've put a rod straight on that. I've left the other 2 in. I'm going to try and find this spot again so I can get both rods onto that. I'm going to leave that right hand rod just for an hour or so, just in case it goes with that fish that it showed. But yeah, for now I've got to try and find that spot again that I found yesterday. Pretty sure it was only about kind of 50 yards roughly. That's gone down with a solid donk again, and it was pretty smooth until it then pulled into there, a bit of gravel. So I want to try and get this right on the edge of between that smoothness and then the rubbly sort of gravel. That's perfect. I'll try and bring that in, try it again, just make sure. That should be bang on the edge then. Nice firm donk again. Yeah, right onto that crumbly gravel. Alright, so I'm going to get this wrapped up, get the 2 rods that aren't fishing at the moment wrapped up as well, fresh bait on them, because one of them I did bring in and the crayfish had got to the bait, unfortunately. I am using the armour mesh as well, but that was just completely torn apart, so I might have to kind of double wrap it. Alright, so 15.5 wraps. It's a little bit further than I thought, but it's still quite a nice distance. Even if the wind really does pick up, it's still obviously easily achievable. You can actually bait up by boat if you want to, but I think on this occasion I am just going to use my 𝗙𝗵𝗿𝗲. The only reason being I don't really use marker floats or anything like that, and I haven't got any 𝗙𝗵𝗿𝗆 because I've just, like I say, it's the first time I've ever fished anywhere like this, so I've come a little bit unprepared, but at least I know if I'm doing it old school method, then I know it's going to be on the right sort of area rather than taking the boat out and kind of getting disorientated. So I'm going to get a little bit bait out now. I'm going to get the other 2 rods wrapped up as well, and then hopefully within half hour or so I'll have both rods on that spot, bit of bait out there as well, ready for whatever turns up. So I'm just going to talk you through quickly what I'm doing to try and crayfish proof my hook baits. So I'm using the 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹𝗆, which is kind of my go-to hook bait really, using these in 15mm, and obviously this matches what I'm actually putting out. So similar to my last vlog, I'm using various size boilies to actually put out there, using 10 and 15mm like I did before, but I'm also using 20mm as well. I'm hoping by using some of the bigger baits it might kind of preoccupy some of the crayfish. Well, that's a theory anyway, whether it works or not I don't know, but like I say, I'm using the 15mm wafters as hook baits, but obviously with crayfish being a problem I need to do a little bit more to them than just take them straight out of the packet. So what I'm using is the 𝗙𝗪 Super Wrap, and this works in a very similar way to what shrink wrap does, and you basically get perforated sheets or sheets with holes in all the way down, and generally I'm using a strip which has 2 holes. That seems to be about the right size for a 15mm hook bait, and so by cutting the strip you can then open it up and put your hook bait inside it. So once it's in there you can then shrink it down using the steam from the kettle, and then this completely wraps around the bait itself. Now last night I was putting just 2 strips of the super wrap on each hook bait, and this morning reeling in, I've seen that the crayfish is still getting into it. So I've realised after doing a few more hook baits with just 2 strips, you can still see that some of the bait is exposed. So I'm going to have to do kind of 3 or 4 strips to make sure everything is absolutely covered. But there you go, shrinking it down again, you can see it completely takes the shape of the bait. So that's 2 on there. And like I say, there's still some of the hook bait exposed, so it's going to need another couple of strips just to make sure everything is completely covered. Because if I am leaving them out there for the rest of the session, then I want to know that I've got a baited rig, otherwise it's completely pointless. Again, open that up, just feed the bait through. A little bit fiddly at times, but it's worth persevering and getting it absolutely bang on. So again, shrink that down, and then I'll probably do 1 more just to make sure there's none of the hook bait exposed whatsoever. And the nice thing about it being perforated as well is that obviously the scent and the flavour of the hook bait can still leach out. It's not completely hidden. Just get this last bit on there. There you go. So that is completely crayfish proofed, and well, I say that, we find out in the morning, see if I've still got hook baits on, but for now I think that's the best we're going to get in terms of making sure that the bait stays on. So I'm going to get this third rod back out there. It's been out there for about 3 hours now, after seeing that fish show, and it hasn't done anything. And to be honest, that fish didn't show too far from where I've been putting the bait anyway, so I'd rather wrap it up, make sure that I'm getting the third rod back out on that, bang on the spot where the bait is, as I think that's going to give me the best chance. If something does come across it, then I've got 3 chances on 1 spot, and I've heard that they do shoal around quite a bit in big groups, so if they do come across it, then there's every chance for maybe even a couple of bites over that period. So I want to make sure everything is bang on for when they do eventually turn up. So let's get this sorted. Well, I'm not really sure where today's gone. It's just gone 4 o'clock now, and it's getting dark already. So there's not a lot of time for filming really during these winter days. But I've spent most of the day filming this bivvy that I'm in now, actually, which is the new Mark II Nash Titan 1-man, and yeah, really nice bit of kit. But that's for another video. Anyway, I haven't done much with the rods. I put them out obviously earlier this morning. I put the third rod out again, probably it must have been about 12 o'clock. After having it kind of cast to a showing fish and nothing really happening from it, I thought it was worth getting on the spot and where I've got all the bait out for tonight. I'm keeping an eye on the water kind of past the camera. I haven't really seen too much to go on at the moment, so I don't know how much I'm expecting to happen tonight really. Probably, knowing my luck, it'll be another bream, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I say, not a lot has happened today at all. So I'm hoping that something might happen tonight, and over the last or over the next sort of 30 minutes or so, just as it's getting dark, there might be something going on. I might see a show or 2. So it'll be nice, but obviously it's not the sort of water that you're going to be seeing in a lot of shows, and especially when it's nearly December as well. So we'll see what happens for the night. It's not worth changing anything, because I think if something has visited, I think I would have got a bite. So I don't think anything's visited at the moment. So I'm just going to persevere, leave them out there till one of them goes, or till I'm packing up tomorrow. So let's see what the night brings. Well, good morning. Nothing happened, basically. Last night it dropped really cold. Even by about 5:30 yesterday evening, it was pretty nippy. I mean, it's understandable for the time of year, but
I didn't think there'd be such a difference between the 2 nights. Like the first night was pretty alright, but yeah, coming into that second night last night, it really did drop down. Overnight, obviously nothing happened. I had a few liners and bits and pieces, but nothing came from it, and I wasn't sure if the liners were actually fish or whether it was kind of the crayfish pulling at baits. So when I woke up this morning, I didn't want to risk being out there for the rest of the day with no bait on the rig. So I brought them all in just to check, and luckily enough there was still bait on every single rig. But I'd rather that peace of mind, and now after putting the extra wraps of the super wrap on it, at least I know that I can leave them out there for a good period of time and the crayfish can't actually get to them, because to be honest there was no signs that they'd even been nipping at them. So it'd be interesting to know what them liners were, because like I said, I'm only fishing 15.5 wraps, so I'm not a long way out. This morning I did wake up at first light and have a good look out, and there were quite a few swirls and things like that around the area, but there was no definite carp show, so I'm wondering if it was a lot of small roach and rudd, things like that, being chased about by the pike, because there are quite a few pike in this lake, and quite decent sizes as well from the sounds of it. So I think the plan now, I've got a few hours left here, so I'm going to make up a few more hook baits, just get them all wrapped up, get the rods back out for the last few hours, just in case something comes to visit, and you never know, might end up with that lucky last minute blank saver. But even if I don't, then I've had a really good time here. Like, it's been a completely different experience to what I'm used to, so it's always nice to fish somewhere new and to fish somewhere completely different. So I'd love to come back if I have the option as well, and kind of carry on a little bit of a campaign here, because it's, like I say, it's a massive water. There's not loads of fish in here, but if you do catch one of them, it's going to feel so rewarding to get it from such a big place. So yeah, I'd definitely like to come back and continue on here. Like, there's so much to explore as well. Obviously getting here when the sort of time that I did on Wednesday, it didn't give me the kind of the ideal chance to spend a lot of time searching around. So I'd be tempted to come down here just for a day, take the boat out and just explore the whole lake, not even fish it, just to try and get a feel for the place and kind of look for likely areas before coming back for a next session. So yeah, again, thank you to Brendan for giving me access to this place and for letting me fish here for a couple of nights. Like, he's been a lifesaver, so yeah, massive thank you for that. And if you guys fish waters of this sort of size, like I say, it's completely new for me, so if you have certain approaches and things like that, it'd be interesting to hear about them in the comments. So if you drop any advice and things that you might find or you might think would be useful for targeting a water like this, then it would be really interesting to read them and kind of get into a bit of a conversation about them. So definitely put some comments in below. It'd be really interesting to see that. But for now, I'm going to get these rods back out, have a coffee, and see what the rest of the day brings. And I'll do a little outro piece a bit later on, hopefully with a fish in my hands, but you never know.
So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to admit defeat and start packing up. I've been putting it off for a little while, but to be honest, there's only so long you can put it off for, and I really don't think anything's going to happen. So I'm going to have a bit of a slow pack up. I'll leave the rods out whilst I'm packing everything else away. So I've probably got about another hour or so of the rods being out, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But I'm definitely not disheartened. Obviously on a water of this sort of size and first coming onto it towards the end of November, not disheartened at all, but it is a mega venue, and hopefully it's somewhere that I'll be back on at some point, because yeah, I've kind of got the itch for it. I want to get up here and do some more exploring by boat and really try and get to grips with it. So we'll see what the future brings, but for now, obviously, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.